today here in Dallas, and on the field, over 100 degrees as this game gets set to get underway. And CBS Sports proud to present the New York Giants versus the Dallas Cowboys. Good afternoon again, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton, and of course the Giants want to prove that their win over the Eagles is no fluke. They want to win on the road against the divisional opponent. Meanwhile, Dallas, they'll really get a test today against the Giants after their victory on opening game. Working with me, of course, is Merlin Olsen. And Merlin, with the conditions on the field, how does that impact first the Cowboys?
Well, Dick, it's hot enough to cook eggs on the surface of the parking lot and almost on the field here. But the Cowboys love it. In fact, if there was a heater in the stadium, they'd have it on, because they feel that they've improved this year, and one area of real improvement is conditioning. Jimmy Johnson ran the toughest training camp in the NFL. They think if they can stay in this game 3 quarters, they've got a chance to win in the 4th quarter.
How will the Giants play it, Merlin?
Giants will be a little different. They'll substitute a lot of bodies in and out of this game. And it's a little different for them to not just to put one running back out there and say, you're our guy. Parcells is going to rotate 6 running backs, and that will help him today. Defensively, Bill Belichick told us yesterday his major concern, if this game gets down to a shootout in the 4th quarter, is having fresh legs on those pass rushers to chase young Troy Aikman.
Talk about major concerns, Merlin. Lawrence Taylor has to be a major concern for the Cowboys. A great game with only 3 practices last week. You talked to him before.
Talked to him down in the tunnel. He looked at this weather out here. He said the heat, my God, just shook his head. I do not expect him to be as big a factor in this game as he was a week ago. His legs are a little leaden. He's going to have to pace himself, but believe me, every time Troy Aikman goes to the line, he'll be looking for Mr. Taylor.
All right, Merlin, and here at Texas Stadium, we do not have a sellout, but close to 60,000. Ken Willis, a rookie free agent, will be kicking off for the Cowboys. The Giants have won the toss. That's Dave Meggett. He is back to receive the kickoff along with Rodney Hampton. And this crowd is charged up. That's what a win will do for you. And we're underway in a short kick. And it's going to take Meggett on the 9. And he's hit hard. Making the stop, Vincent Smith. Phil Simms with a victory on the opening game against the Eagles. Has a lot more weapons to work with, and he'll face a Dallas defense. Up front, the Cowboys will present a defensive line of Stubbs, Hamill, Noonan, and Jeffcoat. We'll give you those after the first play. 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers on first down. On the 23, Simms to throw. Penalty marker is down. Daniel Stubbs gets Simms behind the line of scrimmage, but there's a flag. It'll be a holding penalty against the Giants. The referee today is Jerry Seaman.
Number 60 offense, still first down.
Eric Moore. Here is the Dallas defensive line. Stubbs, who got Simms, Dean Hamill, Danny Noonan, and Jim Jeffcoat. The defensive line, the linebackers, Jack Del Rio, Eugene Lockhart, and Ken Norton. And in the secondary for the Cowboys, Isaac Holt and Robert Williams are the cornerbacks, Ray Horton and Vince Albritton the safeties. First and 20 on the 13-yard line. Otis Anderson with his start. And his carry doesn't get much. Good pursuit. Isaac Holt came up from the secondary to help Jack Del Rio. The rest of the Giant offense, the line, John Elliott, William Roberts, Bart Oates, the center, Eric Moore, and Doug Riesenberg, the tackle. Mark Bavaro is the tight end. Otis Anderson making his first start. Maurice Carthon with him at fullback. And the wide receivers are Mark Ingram and Odessa Turner. But now it'll be second down and long, 2nd and 17. And Hampton and Meggett come in the game as receiving threats. Stubbs.
Danny, you got him once, but you can't go quite that early.
Outside, number 96 defense, still second down.
Bill Parcells yesterday, talking to us about Stubbs, said very simply, we wonder which Daniel Stubbs is going to show up. the one that was so impressive in parts of that game last week, or the one who just seemed to be kind of trying to figure out what he was supposed to do? Well, the question was answered on the first play, but I'm not so sure that he hasn't added another question on that play.
Bill Bates has come in the game, and he is going to be an important defensive man in the nickel package. Manny Hendricks and Ron Francis, extra backs. 2nd and 12. Rodney Hampton, the rookie who has looked so good, brings it out to the 23-yard line where Danny Noonan makes the stop. Hampton, one of those young backs that gives Phil Simms and the Giants a new dimension from that spot.
A dangerous receiver out of the backfield, also a fine runner and a good blocker. One of those juniors who opted to come into the NFL early. The Giants with a stable of running backs, and I tell you, that's bad news if you're a defensive player.
3rd and 10. Lionel Manuel and Stephen Baker in the game. 4 wideouts. Simms up the middle, has Meggett, and Meggett fights his way for a first down beyond the 35-yard line. Vince Albritton and Bill Bates combine to make the stop on really one of the dangerous young players in the game.
He's so dangerous if he can get into space as he does here. And Simms said something interesting to me. He said, with the people we have now offensively, we can make the big plays without taking the big risks. Throwing a short pass to Meggett, for example, can break the big yardage. Simms has not had that luxury as a quarterback.
Gain of 13 yards, 1st and 10 on the Giant 36. Here's Otis Anderson trying to go wide. Makes the turn. He got by Del Rio, but Robert Williams stormed in from his cornerback position. But a healthy gain on the play. It'll bring up 2nd and short.
Otis Anderson, last year, the workhorse back for these New York Giants, mostly tackle to tackle. Here today, they've crossed up this Dallas defense by taking Otis outside.
Giants with 2 tight ends now. Bavaro joined by Howard Cross, who's wearing a cast on broken left hand. 2nd down and 3. Maybe a false start in the snap between Oates and Simms. We'll wait for the call.
Maybe there's not going to be a call. No, I guess it was considered a play. Ball on the ground. Going to be 3rd down and about 4.5 yards to go. Parcells, you might guess that he is not very happy with a wasted down.
So the Giants bring in Hampton and Baker and Lionel Manuel. 7-7 is Parcells' record against the Cowboys. Giants have won the last 4. 3rd down and 4. 42. Simms has time, and he completes it to Hampton, who gets into Cowboy territory. Bill Bates makes the tackle. It'll be a first down and a pickup of 12 yards.
Such a tremendous advantage to be able to put those quick backs out into short yardage and get the matchups against the linebackers. Hampton, an excellent receiver, and knows how to run with that football once he gets it.
And a test for the Dallas defense, which really played solid football down the stretch of last year and played well last week in the win over the Chargers.
Well, they were the strength of this team toward the end of last year, but that's not saying a lot. There was not much strength on this Dallas team last year.
1st and 10, Otis Anderson runs hard into Del Rio and is tackled but picks up about 4 on the play.
This defense, of course, playing in a different philosophy, too, than they played for under Tom Landry. They used to be a read and react team. They are now a very aggressive, slashing-type defense, an attack-type defense. And, of course, that means that Eugene Lockhart is going to be freed up behind that line a lot more. Lockhart's had a great season last year and certainly played extremely well through the preseason this year.
All on the Cowboy 43. Penalty marker is down. Anderson dives what would be close to a first down yardage. Making the stop is Danny Noonan.
And embarrassing moment for the Tasmanian Devil, Hamill, as he jumped offside. Now, you don't get called defensively if you get back. And he jumped back, threw himself back, ended up on the ground, and I think Eric Moore just dove on him, laid right on top of it.
Hamill, of course, remembers playing against the Giants when he was a member of the Redskins, and he had a pulled groin muscle and was questionable for this game. Somehow you knew Hamill was going to be in there.
Well, I tell you, that a pulled muscle doesn't bother you as much on a hot day like this as it would on a cold day. But Hamill's a gamer.
Right now, Jerry Seaman is explaining to Phil Simms the options. First, they're going to measure to see whether the Giants picked up the first down. 9:23 remaining in the first quarter. Giants started from their 18-yard line. It was the 18. They returned the opening kickoff to the 23 and then were penalized. They are short of a first down by less than a yard.
76 defense, still second down.
Had they picked up the first down, I think they'd have refused the penalty, gone ahead with the first down, but this gives them the down over, moves the ball ahead. Almost a throwaway down here for the Giants.
Now the officials are going to confer again, and
they're just respotting the ball. Just respotting that ball, making sure they got the 5 yards.
One of the things that Bill Parcells told us yesterday is that he wants Phil Simms with the faster players to get rid of the ball early, and that has caused a little bit of a clash with them in preseason.
He worries about Simms being too tough. Now, it sounds kind of strange, but Simms is the guy who will hang on to that till that last possible second. Parcells wants that ball out of there quickly because he wants Simms healthy, and he doesn't want the risk of the interception or the sack.
Second down and 2 on the 38. Simms with a lot of time again, and wide open is Mark Bavaro with his first reception of the year, and he'll have a first down close to the 20-yard line, a pickup of 16 yards. Ray Horton, the free safety, on the tackle.
Such an important play to see Mark Bavaro be back in the mix, be downfield, doing what he does so well, finding the holes in the defense. Look at that room there, knowing exactly how to attack that zone, getting himself in position, and Simms with all kinds of time right in the money.
Bavaro smartly goes down, didn't want to challenge the defense, but the injured knee coming back. Otis Anderson gets to the 20 and a gain of 2 yards. Eugene Lockhart makes his first tackle of the game with help from Noonan. Second down coming up.
Eugene, a hitting machine, 222 tackles. He led the NFL last year. Now, that's not a great stat. He admitted it yesterday. He said that meant there were a lot of guys missing tackles. He doesn't expect to be close to that this year, but he's still going to be doing exactly the same kind of things and still be a great impact player.
Billy Broughton has come in the defensive line. David Howard at linebacker on 2nd and 8. Trying to make something out of very little. Doesn't do a bad job of it anyway, getting out of bounds at the 19-yard line, picking up 1 yard on the play. Vince Albritton chased him out of bounds.
You can almost sense the relief of the Giants as they've gotten out of the sun now, moving left to right. They've gone from the sunny spot in the field to the shady part. And I was down on that field earlier. When you walk out of that shade and into that sun, it's like somebody hanging a blowtorch right over the top of you. You can't believe how hot it is.
I noticed you didn't stay down there too long.
Not long, trust me.
Third down and 7 on the Dallas 19. Simms. And with the reception is Ingram. The ball knocked out of his hands, and the Cowboys recover in the end zone for a touchback. Big defensive play. Ron Francis made the recovery in the end zone, but Mark Ingram got hit, and a big defensive play by Dallas gives them the ball.
The kind of play that Jimmy Johnson hoped for early in this game. You do everything right if you're the Giants. You've got the man, you get him the ball, he fights for the extra yardage, but the hit right there by Isaac Holt stripped the ball loose, and Ron Fellows hopped on it in the end zone.
Giants lose the ball, and Dallas takes over.
The time has come for a new kind of full-size luxury. The 1991 Chevrolet Caprice. It has more safety features than ever before. Like the control of standard four-wheel anti-lock brakes. You see, we didn't stop at its beautiful design. We also designed it to stop beautifully. The time has come for the new Chevrolet Caprice. Prepare to be impressed.
Aspen Cologne for men. Aspen, now.
We tested STP oil treatment under the worst possible conditions. In the taxi cabs of New York City. The result? Engine lift to wear was reduced by up to 50%. And now there's an STP for your newer car, too.
Hey, isn't that Calvin? I haven't seen him for a while. Wonder where he's heading. I heard he got a job. Is that right? Well, it's about time he got himself together. Now that you mention it, there is something different about him. Just goes to show you can't judge a book by its cover. Looks like responsibility's been good for him. Well, I'm just glad somebody believed in him enough to give him a chance. Wonder where he's working.
Welcome to McDonald's. May I help you?
Dick Stockton and Merlin Olsen back at Texas Stadium. The Giants used up 7 minutes and 56 seconds and came up empty. Phil Simms completed the pass, but now the Cowboys start from their 20-yard line. Troy Aikman, the quarterback, has plenty of time on first down, dumps it off to Emmitt Smith, the rookie running back, and picks up close to 9 yards on the play. Renee Thompson, who's starting in place of Mark Collins, makes the tackle. Here's the Giant defense. And there'll be a lot of substitutions, as Merlin mentioned. Eric Dorsey and John Washington started in with Eric Howard, the nose tackle. Linebackers, Carl Banks and Lawrence Taylor outside. Steve DiAsi and Pepper Johnson, the inside backers. In the secondary, Collins did not start. Thompson did, with Everson Walls, the former Cowboy, Myron Guyton, and Greg Jackson, the safeties. An emotional return for Everson Walls in an enemy uniform. Second down and 2. Emmitt Smith has the first down as he crosses the 30. Steve DiAsi, another former Cowboy, makes the stop. Up front for Dallas, Mark Tuinei, Crawford Kerr, Mark Stepnoski, Tony Slayton, and Nate Newton. Jay Novacek is the tight end. Emmitt Smith, the first running back pick number 1 since Tony Dorsett joins Tommy Agee, the fullback. Kelvin Martin and James Dixon are the wide receivers. It'll be a first down for the Cowboys on their 31, scoreless with just under 6 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Once again, it's Smith, and he gets a couple.
There is a mistaken notion around the NFL that the best way to handle Lawrence Taylor is to run at him. Bunk. They ran it. Lawrence Taylor with the young back, and Lawrence just stacked it all up. He had some good help from the inside, but he is tough at the point of attack.
With only 3 days of practice, picked up 3 sacks against the Eagles.
I told him he struck a blow for all of us who hated training camp, and he smiled at that.
Second down and 9 for Dallas. Aikman fires. Dixon hit hard, but holds on to it. A fine catch by James Dixon and a gain of 21 yards into Giant territory. Myron Guyton on the stop and a hit.
Guyton almost took Dixon's head off here, but this is an excellent throw by Aikman. He has time, no big rush on him there, and a perfect strike. Watch the hit. You've got to have great hands and great concentration to hang on to the ball when you get blasted like that.
A 21-yard gain for Dixon, who starts in place of Dennis McKinnon. He's a guy who's made very few mistakes since he has started and played a lot. First down. Tommy Agee with his first carry. Makes a host of Giants to bring him down, and they're going to be called for it. A penalty. Pepper Johnson And a personal foul will be marked off against the Giants.
You want to dominate defensively. You want to establish your physical superiority early, but you don't want to make dumb mistakes.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 52 defense, first down.
You don't want to encourage this Dallas Cowboy team if you're the New York Giants. You want them remembering that you've beaten them the last 4 times they've been out on the field against you. The way to do that is to jump on them early. The Cowboys right here feeling good about themselves. They'll feel even better if they can punch it into the end zone.
Troy Aikman, a lot more assured and relaxed at quarterback in his second season, has a first down on the Giant 30. Out of the backfield, and the fullback is inside the 25-yard line. Everson Walls making the stop on Agee. And that'll bring up second down. And the one thing the Giants kept insisting yesterday is that we don't want to put any gas in the Cowboys' tank and give them hope.
We certainly don't. Tremendous pressure on that play by Eric Dorsey, number 77, as he barreled in on the quarterback, Aikman. But Aikman is a cool customer. He can look through that rush, which is difficult for a young quarterback, and still see his receivers. He got the ball up comfortably on that play.
A lot of quick tosses. Second down and 4. On the draw play, and Emmitt Smith is going to be thrown for a loss that time. Eric Howard, who had an outstanding game against the Eagles last Sunday night, stormed in, and that'll bring up a third down.
Bill Parcells almost glowed when he talked about Eric Howard to us yesterday. Said one of his young players who's really come of age. Howard plays a tough position, not only nose tackle, but 2-gap nose tackle, which means he doesn't take a side very often. That's as tough a job as there is in the NFL.
Dennis McKinnon is in at wide receiver. Leonard Marshall also checks in for the Giants, 3rd and 8. He's got time, and over the middle, Jay Novacek. Shy of a first down is Novacek as he is stopped by Pepper Johnson and Dave Duerson. They need about a yard or so. It'll be 4th down and a field goal attempt coming up. Ken Willis will check in for the Cowboys.
One of the things that the Cowboys have been able to do to Lawrence Taylor is to put a quality lineman in his face. Mark Tuanay has done a good job of giving him trouble over the last few years.
Willis will attempt a 40-yard field goal. Novacek will hold. And the snap is fumbled by Novacek, and the Giants are going to take over. I think it was Darrell Johnston who recovered it, but it's still Giant ball. So the Cowboys miss an opportunity here, as the Giants did.
On a hot day, your hands are sweaty, moisture on the hands, the nerves are there. Novacek looked like he had a good snap, simply couldn't get it to the ground.
Still no score with 1:38 to go in the first quarter.
Well, we can never agree on a restaurant, right?
Hey, I ordered already. I found us a great wine.
Oh, a decision maker.
Oh, this is wonderful wine. I had this at David's.
I served this at my place. It was a big hit.
You guys, I was hoping you hadn't tried it yet.
Oh, come on. We finally found something we all agree on, you know? I mean, when was the last time that happened?
Ernest and Julio Gallo invite you to try White Grenache. It will change the way you think about Gallo.
My athlete's foot kept flaring up. I'd put it out, and it'd just flare up again. Then my doctor told me about Tinactin. It cures recurring athlete's foot. Use it regularly, and it'll keep the fire from coming back.
Tinactin puts the fire out for good. Tomorrow morning, experience a new high. Introducing Mountain Fresh Dial, with a scent so big, so bold, so bracing, it's right up there with your peak experiences. New Mountain Fresh Dial.
Last year, more truck owners switched to Chevrolet than to any other truck.
Listen to the heartbeat.
Nearly 200,000 in just 1 year. So if you're still not driving a Chevy, what are you waiting for? More people are winning with
the heartbeat of America. Today's truck is Chevrolet.
Anybody can coach on Monday. It's the decisions and the adjustments made within the game that make the difference. Bill Belichick, defensive coordinator, talking to his troops about what they're seeing right at this moment on the field and how they need to adjust to it.
Giants with their second possession with 1:38 to go in the first quarter. 1st and 10 on the 28-yard line. Sims to throw on 1st down, swings it out to Otis Anderson. Good juke on Daniel Stubbs. Cowboys try to strip the ball away, but Otis is savvy and picks up nearly 9 yards. Vince Albritton and Jack Del Rio make the tackle.
What did Bill Parcells say yesterday? That Anderson is a 2 cutback. Said you got 1 cutbacks and your 2 cutbacks. He gives you that little shake, and you saw it right there. Little fake to the outside, little juke, and then back inside, picking up that extra yardage. That's so important. That's why the Giants respect experience. They go out and get these players who have that experience and then utilize them.
2nd down and a yard. Here's Anderson. Very close to 1st down yardage. Danny Noonan got to him first, and it is a 1st down for the Giants.
We talked about the rotation of 6 backs, and we've seen it buy down, but Otis Anderson is still being expected to carry the load in the short yardage and neutral situations, 1st down situations. They started by running him outside, now shifted gears and have taken him back inside.
Well, the days of Anderson carrying the ball 25 to 30 times a game may be gone, although he's starting off strong here. 1st and 10 for the Giants on their 39. Play fake. Stubbs storming in on Phil Sims, and the pass intended for Howard Cross is incomplete. Good pressure that time on Sims.
Stubbs did not buy the fake. Left-hand side of your screen, number 96. Riesenberg bumps him but misses him right there. No chance. Sims did a great job just to get rid of that football. It was almost caught. But Stubbs already 1 sack and a 2nd hit on that play.
Former San Francisco 49er came over in a trade along with Terrence Flagler. Flagler, to the surprise of many, didn't work out and was dropped.
He didn't want to be a part-time player. Says, I want to be a full-time player. Well, he'll get that chance here.
2nd down and 10. Otis Anderson carries a few tacklers with him. Close to midfield and very close to a 1st down as well. Daniel Stubbs and Vince Albritton are there to make the tackle as time has run out. And that is the end of the 1st quarter here at Texas Stadium with the score. The Giants nothing and the Cowboys nothing.
Getting to know you, getting to know all about you.
Of all the cars and trucks people could choose, more people chose Geo in its first year than Honda, Toyota, and Nissan combined in their first 2 years. Get to know Geo at your Chevrolet Geo dealers.
Getting to know.
Finally, a computer so easy to use it really is a home computer. So easy to learn it guarantees success. All I needed was 15 minutes at Radio Shack with the Tandy 1000 RL, and I could really use this computer. The RL actually taught us how to use its 24 built-in home organizing solutions. Now the whole family enjoys using the RL to communicate and manage our everyday home activities.
Come in today and spend 15 minutes that can change your life. Only at Radio Shack, America's technology store, creating new standards.
What's your first priority? Miss Crowley.
Well, I'm assuming there's product in the pipeline, so...
Assuming, Miss Crowley. Unfortunately, assuming doesn't feed the bulldog.
The top business schools prepare you for every eventuality you will ever encounter in the business world. Except one, business travel. We've got that one covered. United. Come fly the friendly
How
skies.
can Miss Crowley's 3-person sales force stay on top of her far-flung enterprise?
Meet Herman Stiles. He's Wood Newton's new assistant coach.
Well, Herman, I guess you know a little bit about football, huh?
No. Michael Jeter in Evening Shade. Premieres Friday.
quarter here at Texas Stadium. Surprisingly, the Cowboys have hung in at least for the first 15 minutes. No scores. You look at the way the sun is here at the Texas Stadium with the semi-roof.
3 o'clock start, and the sun has drifted down. A tremendous difference, light and dark on the field. You can see how bright it is at one end and how dark at the other. That makes it tough on receivers. They're looking back into a dark background, trying to pick out the ball with the light coming down on them.
Lewis Tillman checks into the Giant backfield on first down on the New York 49. And Tillman is hit in a great safety blitz. Ray Horton came in unmolested and made a fine defensive play in a loss of about 3.
Dave Wannstedt, the defensive coordinator, talked about being aggressive defensively. He shows it right here. Excellent play. Horton taking the legs out right there on Tillman, puts him on the ground.
Horton did not play last week, had a stomach virus. James Washington filled in for him. It'll be 2nd and 12 here. Dave Meggett lines up at the top of your picture. Pass caught by Bavaro. Tries to lunge forward. Will be just shy of first down territory. Jack Del Rio makes the first stop, and Vince Albritton then comes in. We're at Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas on a sweltering afternoon, over 100 degrees on the field. This is Dick Stockton and Merlin Olsen, two teams who won their opening games, playing a divisional contest in week 2 where the Giants have won 4 straight over the Cowboys. No score. 3rd down and 1 on the 42. Maurice Carthon appears to have the first down.
Giants, a team that loves to come right at you and challenge you physically. Their philosophy, very simply, is we're not going to beat ourselves. We're going to play basic, sound, aggressive football. And if you can play that kind of game with us, you can stay in the game. If you can't, go home.
A lot of teams have gone home playing the Giants, and what they do is hope that they get a turnover somewhere along the way and capitalize on it.
Well, so far there have been mistakes in this game, a tragic one for the Giants, who had taken the ball all the way down the field, only to see it fumbled into the end zone.
First down on the Dallas 40. Sims with a deep drop, and Bavaro with his 3rd catch of the game has big yardage and is ridden out of bounds inside the 15 by Eugene Lockhart. And once again, Bavaro all alone and a gain of 29 on that play.
I asked Bavaro before the game, are you 90%? He said, no, not up to 90%. Well, when he gets back to 100%, look out. Still bothered by that knee, but he's great at finding room in that zone. Lockhart takes him out of bounds here, but you know, there's some don'ts in the NFL, and one of them is don't try and tackle Bavaro low. You are high. You go in at him low. You go up high, he'll break you in half.
And a 1st and 10 just outside the 10-yard line. Otis Anderson gets inside the 10 to about the 6. Tackle made by Horton and Lockhart. It'll be 2nd down.
Big, strong offensive line up front. They're coming to the left. That's Moore, number 60, pulling out with an excellent block there. Riesenberg coming over to block on the counter play. Picked up a nice gain on the play. 2nd and what, about 4, Dick?
2nd down and close to 5. And the Giants can get a first down without scoring. 10th play of the drive coming up. No score. Ingram winds up wide to the left. Here's Anderson. Fights his way to about the 4-yard line and gang tackled by Lockhart and Norton, 2 of the linebackers. And that'll bring up 3rd and short for the Giants.
Otis Anderson had his first game against these Cowboys as a rookie. Said he still remembered it. About 169 yards on that particular day. And as a young back, he could avoid 2 or 3 tacklers. At this stage in his career, he can get by that first tackler, and then he'll just put his head down and give you everything he's got. And maybe that's one reason why Parcells loves it. Boy, he's got his head there. He's sucking air right now, but I promise you, he'll go on this play full speed.
Jimmy Jones, a rookie inside pass rusher, is checked in for the Cowboys. And the Giants have called a timeout. We'll be back to Texas Stadium.
How much insulation do you have in your attic? 3 inches? 6 inches? Well, the Department of Energy recommends R38 for most American homes, which is equivalent to a foot of Owens Corning pink fiberglass. So grab a ruler and measure your attic insulation. Then get rolling. Because 12 inches of pink fiberglass can help you get a foothold on your energy bills.
Give the Army Signal Corps 30 minutes, and they can turn a mountaintop into a satellite communication station.
Roger, Bravo 2, loud and clear.
The Type A personality vacation. The Type B personality vacation. The best vacations are this vacation. The Royal Caribbean vacation.
160 horses. That's what Chevy S10 packs into the biggest V6 engine ever put in a compact pickup. Enough power to help switch more truck owners to Chevy last year than to any other truck. The move to Chevy power is becoming a stampede. More people are winning with the heartbeat of America. Today's lucky Chevrolet.
Jay Novacek, the Cowboys starting tight end who fumbled the snap on the field goal attempt and had to make a tackle, has a bruised left shoulder, and he's dazed here on the floor at Texas Stadium.
I think he may be a little embarrassed, too. He's a very dependable holder, and dropping one for what would have been a relatively easy chip shot field goal has to be embarrassing.
Giants started from their own 28-yard line. The 12th play is coming up right now, and they've chewed up just about 5.5 minutes. It'll be 3rd down and 3 at the 4. Anderson and Maurice Carthon line up in the backfield. Sims, a lot of time, people are covered. Sims will run, and he'll get in for the touchdown. Call him the veteran scrambler, if you will, and Sims puts the Giants up 6-0.
34-year-old quarterbacks don't get chances to run for too many TDs. Nobody home. Couldn't find the open receiver. But this is a smart quarterback. He'd rather take the sack than a chance to throw it away. Watch him. Looking left. Looking left. He's got 3 receivers. Nobody there. There's a great block by Bavaro right there. That's a decleater. Knocked his man right flat on his back. They love having Bavaro back in the lineup. Sims are going to give him a raise himself.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Maybe.
Ostendler will hold for Raul Alegre. The kick is good. And the Giants, 4 minutes into the second quarter, score first and lead the Cowboys 7-0.
2 division leaders continue their quest. The Cardinals face the NL East leading Pirates, or the first-place Red Sox battle the Yankees next Saturday on CBS.
When I was growing up, I had parents that were there for me, to give me that sense of confidence we all need. That's what these big brothers and big sisters are giving to these young people. I'm Troy Aikman, quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, and I know that those same qualities are what each of these young people need to win against the tough challenges that they have to face every day in our modern society. Today I'm at an outing with the youngsters from the Big Brothers and Sisters programs here in Dallas. As a United Way volunteer, I try to teach them how to cope with the fast-moving society that they are growing up in. Now I want you to meet a very special United Way volunteer who's with me today. She's my mom.
Troy needed guidance and self-confidence just as all our children do. When you give to United Way, you're showing you care.
When you give to United Way, you bring out the best in them. And United Way, it brings out the best in all of us. Right, guys?
Yeah!
This message furnished by the National Football League.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by today's Chevrolet, who invite you to see why nobody's winning like the heartbeat of America. The U.S. Army, where you get an edge on life, be all you can be. And by Levi's 505 and 506 jeans.
Phil Simms talking to upstairs. The Giants lead 7-0 on Simms' 4-yard run when his receivers were covered. And now Raul Alegre will be kicking off for the Giants. Deep for the Cowboys. On the left is James Dixon. Alexander Wright, rookie wide receiver, on the right. Kick heading over for Wright. Two of them collide on the goal line. Wright brings it out and doesn't get it to the 15-yard line. And great special teams hustle by Lewis Tillman.
Second effort, such an important word. Mark Bavaro will cut his man at the line. That's Stubbs. But then watch what happens. Turn it loose. As the quarterback begins to scramble, Bavaro will make a second block. There's the cut right there on Stubbs. Look at the right edge of your screen. Bavaro looks back and gets his man Del Rio right there and puts Del Rio on his back. That springs the way for Simms to get into the end zone. What a great play.
Bavaro's also caught 3 passes. Cowboys on the 14. Rob Awalt has come in at tight end, replacing Novacek. First down, and the pass intended for Awalt had his hand on it, couldn't hold on. Myron Guyton was defending on the play.
Guyton thought that ball was his. He was going up for the intercept. But Awalt, with those long arms and that looping stride, was able to get there and get his hands on it.
In Awalt and Novacek, the Cowboys boast 2 former Cardinal tight ends.
Well, they're certainly not strangers to the Giants. They've seen a lot of these guys over the years.
Second down and 10. Cowboys on their 14. Or 2. John Washington and Pepper Johnson in on the stop. Emmitt Smith making his debut as a starter. And a tough debut it is against the Giant defensive line.
I talked to him just before the game. I said, "Are you excited?" And his eyes were just as bright as they could be. I said, "How did you sleep?" He said, "I slept well." And I said, "What are you going to do right now?" He said, "Well, I'm going to go in there." He said, "Darrell Nelson is going to quiz me on all the plays." He said, "I don't want to make any mistakes." What a nice young man. A great talent. They're expecting big things from him here in Dallas.
Lawrence Taylor lining up on a 3rd and 7. That's where he's dangerous on passing situations. Aikman's pass incomplete. First tip by Renee Thompson. It was intended for James Dixon, who might have had a hand on it as well. And that'll be 4th down, and the Giants could be looking at good field position following this punt.
Last week against the Eagles, the Giants used a single down defensive lineman, adding a whole host of linebackers. This week they've used 2 linemen on that play. We'll see more of that, I'm sure, during the day.
Dave Meggett, who returned a punt 68 yards for a touchdown against Philadelphia, is deep.
You kick it away from that guy.
Mike Saxon doesn't have a whole lot of room. He's on his 2-yard line. Giants will be peeling back for the return. End over end, and Meggett at his 40. Into Dallas territory to the Cowboy 48-yard line. A 44-yard kick. And Ken Norton makes the stop on Meggett. Giants seems to have handled the heat so far in a 7-0 game.
Oh, here we go! Oh! Good dust, baby. Zombie blitz! How you like me now, baby? Got the life insurance? Call 911!
There are those who thirst for something different. Something beyond Michelob Dry. Once you've experienced its bold taste with no aftertaste, there's no going back.
There's the story of the game. Phil Simms very accurate. The Giants nearly had another score, but they fumbled the ball into the end zone, yet the Giants lead the Cowboys 7-0 with 9:47 remaining in the second quarter. And Merlin, it's not easy when you're a Dallas Cowboy to have to face people, fans, citizens who want to know why you lose all the time.
Well, blessed relief for them with that win last week. We talked to Eugene Lockhart about what it was like last year with that tremendous losing streak, and he said everybody wants to know what's wrong with the Cowboys. He said even the box boy, he said, I go in there and the box boy's got me, and he's mad. Why aren't the Cowboys winning? What's wrong with your Cowboys? And I mean, you want to cry because 27 other people have asked you that same question on that same day. Everybody in the world thinks they got an answer for you, too. It's tough to be on a losing team. I went through that my rookie year. I wouldn't wish it on anyone.
But at least they do care, and even though they haven't sold out in a while, they have exuberant fans. 1st and 10 for the Giants on the Cowboy 48. Lewis Tillman, the running back. Ingram in motion. Tillman cuts outside and gets good yardage. The Giants are really getting good first down runs from their backs today. Jim Jeffcoat made the stop in a pickup of about 9.
Here's the rotation paying off that we talked about. O.J. Anderson carried the load early. Now Tillman's in there. Tillman out of Jackson State said that, as you might expect, Walter Payton, one of his idols. I said, did you ever meet Walter? He said, no, I broke a lot of his records, but I never got a chance to meet him.
How many people could say that? Hampton and Meggett come into the game. It'll be 2nd down and 1. Simms, incomplete, and they're going to throw the marker down. Rodney Hampton was the intended receiver. Ken Norton might have been over the top a little bit too much.
Pass interference. Number 50 defense. First down.
And it'll be a Giant first down.
That big wall up in front doing a fine job. Riesenberg and Moore and Oates and Roberts and Elliott all working hard. Let's see what happened on that play. Here's Ken Norton dropping back, a very quick and agile athlete. Oh, no question. You can't drive through the receiver before that ball arrives. Good call.
On the 35 of the Cowboys, Giants lead 7-0. Lewis Tillman, head down, picks up 4 yards. Danny Noonan and Tony Tolbert are there to make the tackle.
Noonan at 6'4" and 270, knocked backwards by Tillman at 6'0" and 195. He really took a sock. Tillman has got some real power.
Tillman started the opening game against the Eagles last week. Cowboys look at him as maybe the most complete back of all the Giants. 2nd down and 6. Tillman again. He's got a first down inside the 20-yard line. Albritton and Norton make the stop, but not before Tillman picks up 13 yards up the middle.
Watch the great cut. Tillman going into his left, and right there, a slide step across, finds the opening over there between Moore and Riesenberg, and then accelerates into the secondary. That's good football, and this Cowboy defense has yet to stop the New York Giants offense.
Tillman has averaged 6 yards a carry in 4 attempts, and it's a first down on the Dallas 19. Tight end alignment. There's an opening for Tillman, and he dives to the 15-yard line. Ray Horton cuts him down there, and the Giants picking up good yardage on first down on the ground in this first half.
And we're at a point in this game when you'd expect to see the Heat start to have an impact. I've got to believe that right now with the Cowboy defense down at the sunny end of the field and that Heat beating down on them, it's going to start taking its toll. Although if you're wearing a dark blue shirt, you're soaking up more of that sun's energy. That's what you do at home. You make the enemy come in and put on a dark shirt and put them down where it's a little hotter if you can.
2nd down and 6 for the Giants. Here's Tillman. He's been a workhorse. on this possession. Gets to the 10-yard line. Robert Williams and Ray Horton on the stop. But the way the Giants have been moving the ball on the ground, the heat may not be a factor late in the game if they continue to add to their lead.
Generally, most of the players in this situation would be standing up. Right now, cold towels and a seat on the bench, the order of the day as you try and get cool. They do have some high-powered turbine fans down there to keep the air moving, but believe me, it is scorching hot down on that field.
3rd down and 1. Otis Anderson in the game, and Anderson close to the first down. Jimmy Jones was the first to reach him. Anderson went over 1,000 yards last season, a 12-year veteran, slow getting up, as we have 6 minutes and 6 seconds remaining in the second quarter. That's what Otis has done so far today.
They're going to measure the first down. Otis saying, we got it, don't worry about it.
Well, Otis
does not. It is a first down. Makes a good official.
He does. The angle made it look like he might be wrong. We talked about the Giants being rejuvenated by people like Otis Anderson. Johnny Cooks came in there from Indianapolis. DeOssie from Dallas. Everson Walls, Dallas. And Dewerson. We haven't seen a lot of him today. I think he's another very valuable addition. In fact, in talking to Bill Parcells yesterday, he said, with those two vets in the backfield, he said, I really feel good about our defense.
First and goal at the 9, and Lewis Tillman up the middle, and the Giants have tested the Dallas defense to success up the middle. Eugene Lockhart and Jimmy Jones make the stop. It'll be 2nd and goal at the 5. 7-0 New York with 5.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Giants trying to make it 2 wins in 2 weeks against divisional foes.
When you play against a physical football team, you have to be able to match up on the line of scrimmage. If you want to stop them, you've got to go head-to-head with them. The Dallas Cowboys have not been able to do that. The Giants have been able to repeatedly knock them off the line and continue to move the ball down in short yardage.
The ball is at the 4. Tillman on the pitch. Stopped at the 1. And it'll be 3rd down. Jack Del Rio on the tackle.
Stretching the defense to the outside. You'll see a good block in there by Howard Cross, number 87. Good blocking by 66 inside Williams, and now down right close to the goal line. Just a matter of less than a yard.
Everyone excited in Dallas with the victory over San Diego, but a big step upward and a much more important test today against the Giants. 3rd and goal. Otis Anderson. And he gets in for the touchdown.
A silent crowd and a bitter response from Jimmy Johnson. The Cowboys committed themselves inside. Otis Anderson went outside. Good block, Carthen, right there to spring him into the end zone.
Giants lead at 13-0. Raul Alegre to add the 14-point. Hostetler holds. It's perfect. And with 4 minutes and 17 seconds remaining in the first half here in Dallas, Anderson and Sims have scored touchdowns for the Giants. With a touchdown from a yard out, and the Giants lead the Cowboys 14-0.
At 14 points, if you're a Dallas fan, is bad news. But had it not been for the fumble into the end zone, there'd be another one on the board.
Short kick by Raul Alegre. Alexander Wright at the 11 returns for the Cowboys. He's got great speed. He's got one man to beat, and he does. He's going to score. Touchdown, Dallas. No flags are down.
very proud of his special teams. They went to sleep momentarily here, and that's a 4.25 sprinter and a 40-yard dash. He runs more than a 40 here, but you see him taking advantage of that great speed, and the Cowboys celebrate.
A 90-yard kickoff return by the second-round draft choice from Auburn, Alexander Wright. And now, Mike Saxon, the punter, will hold for Ken Willis. The kick is good, and the Cowboys all of a sudden trail by 14-7. Was the 26th pick in the draft. Early in the second round, returns a kickoff explosively, 90 yards, and it's 14-7. Ken Willis kicking off. It's been 10 years since someone has returned to kick off against the Giants. Short kick, Meggett on the 10. And he stopped at about the 23-yard line by Stan Smagala, a rookie from Notre Dame.
When Jimmy Johnson came to the Cowboys, he said simply, we have got to get some more speed into this team. He had the slowest team in the NFL. Last year, he began to work on it. Look at what he's done from 1988 to 1989 to 1990. Dropped the speed of the receivers by 0.2. Speed of the running backs is down. Linebackers all across the line. This is a faster team. And you saw a huge payoff of it right there because Wright was drafted with his speed as a prime prerequisite. Talked to him yesterday in the locker room at the Cowboy training facility, and I said, you think you can slip in there and do something tomorrow? He said, I'm just trying to learn this system, but I would like to make something happen. Well, he just did.
The Giants have used their second time out of the first half with 3:53 remaining.
Confusion? Sims apologizing.
Cardinals and the Pirates. We have really three solid races in the Major League. Some of you will see the Red Sox against the Yankees, noon Eastern time. The Red Sox right now lead has been cut to 2 games over the Toronto Blue Jays. The Pirates are only 1.5 game ahead of the Mets, and even in the loss column. So that's next Saturday here on CBS Sports. Put a charge in the crowd here at Texas Stadium when it looked as if they were put to sleep by the way the Giants were driving. They had controlled the ball for nearly 8 minutes the first time, and then 5.5 the last.
Special teams will keep you in some ball games. We saw that right there. This has been a game dominated by the Giants, but that one play was a big equalizer.
First down on the 24. Louis Tillman driven back, and it was Willis Crockett, a rookie who was activated this week.
The Cowboys doing some rotation of their own, moving people in and out. Crockett comes from the left-hand side, number 90, right there. Puts a bumping stop on it, drives the ball carrier back. Sometimes a big play like that on special teams will ignite a defense and turn them on.
Giants have had a big edge in time of possession. They lead by 7 points. Second down and 9 on the 25-yard line. Sims getting some pressure, dumps it off to Tillman. Tillman will get a first down as he finds the open spaces beyond the 40-yard line. David Howard and Willis Crockett make the tackle, but not before Tillman gains 17 yards.
This is exactly the kind of play that Sims talked to me about before the game. He said, we ran screens last week against the Eagles. They didn't go for yardage, but we will continue to run them because we have backs now who can make people miss like that and make the big plays downfield.
Ken Norton was the linebacker who missed, and the Giants have a first down on their 41. Otis Anderson now in the backfield. Gets the call. Breaks a tackle or two and picks up about 5 yards. Willis Crockett winding down to the 2-minute warning.
It is tough to play against a team that is so good at using their weapons and a team that has so many weapons.
And using the clock the way the Giants are.
Using the clock. You can wave all the towels you want, but you got to get something stopped down on the field, folks.
So our 2-minute warning here at Texas Stadium, and we'll be back after these messages.
117 degrees. That's that surface. You see the Dallas Cowboys. This was during the timeout. Trainers out there with water splashing them down. You notice they've all taken a knee, and they are beginning to fatigue, and they're rotating people in and out of this lineup. Lots of new bodies in there.
Mark Collins is being helped off. That could be a very tough injury for the Giants. The cornerback, one of the best in the league. Second down and 5 for the Giants on their 46. Sims' pass caught by Odessa Turner, and it's a good catch inside the 40 and a first down. Robert Williams defending on the play, and the Giants chalk up 16 yards on that play.
Good heat on Sims on this play. They're coming with the blitz as the Cowboys blow through on the outside. That's David Howard, 99, getting some heat there. 92 Tolbert coming in as well. But Sims had it right into the hands of his receiver. And Odessa able to use that big body to shield himself on the sideline and get it down for the reception.
Talk about the Cowboys going to give people some relief. Daniel Stubbs is the only member of the starting front four in there right now on the defensive line for the Cowboys.
This heat is hardest on the big man, and I've got to believe that the Giants' offensive line is going to begin to suffer too, even though they're in good shape.
I think they're taking a look or checking the clock. There's Mark Collins, and we'll get a report on
well, they're saying they're going to review that last play. And
please reset the stadium clock to 1:52. Please reset the stadium clock to 1:52.
That'll help the Giants because they're driving into Dallas territory. It's at 1:24 right now. Drive started on the Giant 24-yard line.
We'll say it again. This Dallas defense has not been able to stop the New York Giants offense at all today. They carried it down the first time, fumbled it into the end zone, and they have put points at the end of each drive since.
And they've got a problem with the clock still.
You don't mind that on a day like today. You get a chance to take a few extra breaths down there.
First and 10 on the Dallas 38. Sims going for Stephen Baker. Incomplete. Vince Albritton really gave him a lick as that ball sailed well over his head.
Bill Parcells said very simply when we asked him about this Dallas defense, he went through a few names and he said that Albritton kid, I don't like him either. You see why. He is a real hitter back there.
Report on Mark Collins is that he may have a sprained left ankle and they're going to take an x-ray. Meanwhile, the Giants, with 1:47 remaining in the first half, have a second down and 10. The starting defensive line back in there for Dallas. Sims on a screen to head. He's trying to pick his way and dive forward inside the 30. Undercut by Robert Williams and close to a first down. And the clock starts, a minute and a half remaining. And it is a first down for New York.
Hampton, another one of those juniors that opted to enter the NFL draft.
And now they mark it third down and less than a yard. They did not measure it.
Someone has laser eyes out there as they will give the Giants a chance to punch it in.
Now the Dallas Cowboys have used their first timeout.
Fatigue. They're saying, let's get it together. A couple of deep breaths.
Well, also with 3rd and 1. This will be a good down to stop the Giants. We'll be back against Georgia in the Southeast Conference battle. That's Saturday, 3 o'clock Eastern time. And we stayed up and watched the end of that thrilling Notre Dame-Michigan game. College football at its best on CBS. With a minute to go, Maurice Carthon carries to about the 22-yard line with under a minute to go. It is a first down for the Giants. Ray Horton and Vince Albritton, the two safeties in on the stop as the Giants get set for at least a field goal try before the end of the half.
a most unusual first half in the sense that the Giants have only had 4 possessions, and they have driven and sustained drives all 4 times they've had the ball.
First down on the 22. Sims was intended for Turner, and there was All-Britain defending, Ron Francis also there. Francis was the man.
Turner pulled up on that play. Looked like he's bothered by some kind of leg problem, maybe a cramp perhaps, which is not uncommon on a hot day like today. Heading up the sideline, but pulled up on that particular play. Sims had that ball in a position where it could not be intercepted.
Giants lead 14-7. Sims ran 4 yards for a score. Otis Anderson ran for a 1-yard touchdown, and then Alexander Wright returned the ensuing kickoff 90 yards for a touchdown. This is the 9th play of this drive for the Giants. 2nd down and 10. Sims has room to run. A fumble recovered by Jeffcoat. And Dallas gets it back. Manny Hendricks stripped the ball from Phil Sims.
Bill Parcells just said deja vu. He's having flashbacks and seeing Jeffcoat raise up and catch 2 passes batted by 2 tall Jones and carry them back for touchdowns. This play, watch the strip right here. Hendricks right there in behind, number 45. Jeffcoat right on the spot, lumbering up that sideline.
Is this why he calls this place the Voodoo House after all of these things have happened to the Giants over the years?
A very strange play, but a heads-up play by 2 players, Manny Hendricks and that man right there, Jeffcoat, hustling down, staying behind the play, and the Cowboys have stopped the first drive of the day.
A 28-yard return by Jeffcoat, and you know he's going to be heaving on the sidelines.
Literally?
Maybe.
He might be.
First down, Dallas on their 40. Troy Aikman. And his pass is caught by Awalt out of bounds with 9 seconds to go. And the ball is placed at the Giant 36. A gain of 26 yards with Everson Walls in on the play. There's Jeffcoat.
He didn't run that far. You can see what an effort that was. I don't think you can realize how difficult it is to play this game in this kind of heat with those full uniforms and pads on and still crank it up for 100%. You go to the sideline, you feel like you're going to pass out.
Jeffcoat, by the way, has had a good history against the Giants, having scored 2 touchdowns in the past against them. And he was Johnny on the spot there. So 9 seconds to go, and Dallas, they don't have much time. They still have 2 timeouts to maybe set up a field goal possibility. Want to remind you, coming up at halftime, Greg and Terry with all the scores, highlights, and latest information.
A few surprises today around the league, a few major upsets, and I'm sure what's going through the Giants' mind on the sideline right now. They have dominated this game, offensively and defensively. But a couple of big plays, the fumble into the end zone, deprived them of 7 points. The big kickoff return put 7 points on the other side. And now suddenly a turnover, and Dallas has an opportunity to get themselves on the board again.
The Cowboys had to use a timeout there, which they did. They have 1 left. First down on the 35. Maybe an audible called by Aikman out of the shotgun, hit from behind, loose ball. And the whistle blows, and they said that Aikman was downed by Carl Banks.
Banks coming in from the right-hand side. He and LT had switched sides. Banks flying in from the right side. Number 58. Watch him as he breaks outside. Oh, LT is inside. So they've stacked both the linebackers over there. Banks goes outside, LT inside, and you got to look for LT. Banks said, thank you. I'll take him.
Well, what that play might have done is possibly really take the Cowboys out of a field goal try. If they had clicked there and called a timeout, they might have had time. But now with 4 seconds left, they may have to be content with going for the Hail Mary or trying for the touchdown.
Jimmy Johnson said something to us yesterday. He said, we can't let the Cowboys control the football and take us out of the game.
Giants, of course, control the ball many times in the past against Dallas. And there goes Jeffcoat into the dressing room.
Jeffcoat still exhausted, but when Johnson was talking, he was talking about the Giants controlling the football, taking them off the field offensively. They had very few plays offensively, and this is the kind of first half he did not want to see. As we said, he's been blessed by a couple of big plays that have softened the blow, but if it continues, they can't stay in this ballgame.
Giants go way back into prevent. 8 men back. 3-man rush. Aikman going deep for Kelvin Martin, and the pass
Great interception. Great interception.
Dominated time of possession.
Absolutely been dominated, and the Cowboys just are thrilled to look up at that scoreboard and say, hey, we're one play away from bringing this game back to even. I think it's the kind of position they hope to be in, not the way they'd hoped to do it. 2 big plays in that first half. The first, a fumble that cost New York 7 points, and then this home run by Alex Wright. A huge monster play in this game that turned the emotion around in this game, puts points on the board for the Dallas Cowboys. What is it, once every 10 years the Giants give up one of those, and Bill Parcells is saying, why now, guys, why now?
And of course Phil Simms had the ball stripped from him, and Jim Jeffcoat returned it when the Giants were going in and driving, and were in field goal range at least. But 14-7 is the score. What do you foresee now in the second half, Merlin?
I still think that the heat is going to be a major factor, and it tests not only the conditioning of the athletes, but maybe even more importantly, the courage of the athletes. You've just got to suck it up and go. We're going to find out who the courageous players are, because everybody is going to be tired in this second half.
Raul Allegre kicking off. James Dixon and Alexander Wright are deep. It's going to be Dixon at the 5. Penalty marker is down. Dixon is tackled at the 25, and that will probably be an illegal block against the Cowboys. Here's Jerry Seaman. That's the one penalty in football that you can determine before the flag hits the ground.
Jimmy Johnson not pleased. That marches his starting offense back, and they have not been able to do a great deal here today.
Holding during the return, number 55 receiving team, first down.
Jack Del Rio, the illegal block. Mark Collins will not play in the second half for the Giants. He was taken off the field with a sprained ankle. And the Cowboys will begin from the 15-yard line. And who would have thought going into the second half that the Giants would have more turnovers than the Cowboys?
Well, the Cowboys hope to keep it close through 3 quarters, and then they're going to win with their conditioning. Let's see how the game plan works.
First down, here's the rookie Emmitt Smith. Dives close to the 20. Carl Banks and John Washington in on the stop.
Dick, the big men suffer the worst on the field on a day like today, and one of the biggest on the field, and he is the biggest in fact, looks like 2 people. Nate Newton, big number 61. They call him the Kitchen. I think because he ate everything in the kitchen. Came into camp at about 340 pounds. A lot of people can't understand. They offered him $35,000 if he'd come in at 315. He came into camp at about 342 pounds. Last year had the same offer, didn't make it then either. That's $70,000 he could have had in his pocket. He's trimmed it down pretty good. Weighed in last week at 322. But he's a man who will suffer on a hot day like today.
And a timeout has been called by the Cowboys. So Troy Aikman, not sure of what the offense is, wants to get straightened out before he runs the play.
In the old stadium there, and we left a couple of guys packed in ice that day and didn't know if they'd survive.
And you never gained it back. Second down and 5 on the 20. Aikman right through the legs of Dixon, it appeared, and arms as well, and a penalty. Nope. No penalty marker thrown. Incomplete. No one defending. Greg Jackson and Walls were closest.
Each of these players today will lose an awful lot of weight. The smaller players, maybe 7, 8, 10 pounds. Some of the big men up around 20 pounds. Most of that they'll gain back within a few hours after the game. They're drinking liquids constantly on the sideline. You see them over there getting the Gatorade, getting the water. After this game is over, you can't believe the amount of liquid that they'll consume trying to get their bodies back.
Leonard Marshall and Dave Durison in the Giant defense right now on 3rd down and 5. Roll out for Aikman. The pass is tapped. Carl Banks got a hand on it, incomplete, and so Dallas will punt in their first possession.
Lawrence Taylor has had some difficulty here today, and in part because they're paying a lot of attention. 2 blockers on him in that play, Walt, and 2NA, and 2NA doing a good job of getting his hands very quickly on LT, and you want to discourage LT. I think everybody who plays him will say the same thing.
He kind of said he didn't think he was going to have a gangbusters day, and he hasn't so far. There's Dave Meggett, who's back, and Mike Saxon will punt for the Cowboys. Giants lead 14-7. And a fine kick by Saxton. Meggett back to his 24. And he is tackled at the 38-yard line by Vincent Smith. Penalty marker is down, however. Lawrence Taylor taking a breather. That was a 56-yard kick by Mike Saxon. And slow getting up is Smith.
57.
And they're going to mark it off. It'll be... It looked as if they were going to mark it off.
It goes against the Giants.
The Giants.
Yeah, it'll be against the Giants.
Smith is being walked off the field after that collision.
Receiving team, first down.
You can actually take yourself to the point where you pass out on a day like today.
Dallas plays at Washington. Late games, Philadelphia and Los Angeles. And Atlanta, San Francisco. On first down, Mark Bavaro dives forward for a first down to the 34-yard line. Jack Del Rio and Robert Williams makes the tackle, and good for 12 yards.
You've got to be thrilled to see Mark Bavaro back if you're a Giant fan. To see him back is such an important part of this offense. Secure hands, great hands. Turns up the field. That's not a pretty sight if you're a defensive back or a linebacker, to see Mark Bavaro turning up the field at you.
After the reconstructive knee surgery, it's tremendous to see him back. If you're a Giant fan, he has caught 4 passes for 68 yards. First down, Lewis Tillman slipped, and Lockhart, Norton in to make it count. We're there on the play, and no gain, maybe a loss.
I think those shoulder pads on Lockhart may be the biggest shoulder pads in captivity, and he just absorbed Tillman on that. He just swallowed him up like a big whale.
He was gripping something when we talked to him yesterday, and he says, I have a broken finger on my right hand. I break it in the first game every season.
And doesn't complain. Just goes right about his business.
Second down and 11. Sims completes the pass to Odessa Turner. They pick up all but a yard and a half, close to a first down. Last week, the Giants had 8 different players catch passes. Turner caught 1 last week. Tillman and Maurice Carthon check back into the lineup on short yardage, 3rd down and 2. Tillman to carry. He's close to the first down.
It looks to be just slightly short of it. They may have to measure on this play.
Jeffcoat and Norton
all in the spot.
Danny Noonan, starting right tackle for the Cowboys, was treated for heat exhaustion, and he may be back in the game. Cowboys have lost Jay Novacek, their tight end, and the Giants are without Mark Collins, who won't be back with a sprained ankle. It is a first down for the Giants.
First down,
Jimmy Johnson, who was looking to protect the ball and hold the ball and get time of possession edge, hasn't been able to do it, but here he stands with 12 minutes minutes or so remaining in the third quarter, down by only a touchdown. First down on the Giant 45. Sims gets some pressure, dumps it off to Tillman. Tillman stopped by Jack Del Rio. Picks up just a couple on the play.
And big Eugene Lockhart also out there. This is the kind of play that starts to get painful defensively. The pursuit to the outside wears you down. You got to keep going out there. You know that. You just tell your body to go. And pretty quick, your body said, who? Me? I ain't going out there. It gets tougher and tougher. That's why they're rolling people in and out. The Giants, again, really have only been stopped on one drive all day, and that was the one that they turned the ball over on. Actually, 2 times they've turned it over, one into the end zone.
Second down and 8 now. Hampton and Meggett are in the game, and Rodney Hampton gets clobbered as he catches the ball about 1.5 yards shy of the first down. Ken Norton on the big hit, but Hampton held on, and the Giants about 2 yards shy. And they're going to bring in their short yardage people on third down and 2.
Not uncommon for the Giants to use 3 tight ends in this kind of situation. They put real heat on you physically, and that's their style of football. We talked about it earlier. It's matchup football. They're not trying to finesse you or fool you. Not a very sophisticated system in terms of number of formations, the number of plays. They just come at you and give it all they got.
In Dallas territory, awkward play by Jimmy Jones, the Miami rookie.
His legs were too tired to pick him back up. He started inside, and on a normal day,
prior to the snap, number 97 defense, first down.
He would have been able to get his feet up underneath him and get back.
But he
just gave it up.
Yeah, but it's a first down, and that's...
Here he is. Watch him now. Starts in. He actually could not stop. And that's just pure and simple fatigue on that kind of play. One of the things we'll have to watch. When you really get tired, there's a tendency to lose concentration. There's a tendency to get careless. That could mean turnovers. It could mean blown assignments. And that could lead to big, big plays here in the last part of this game.
First down, Giants on the Cowboy 42, leading Dallas 14-7. Tillman going outside. Dives to the 35-yard line. Isaac Holt makes the play on Tillman. So it'll be second and short. How many times today have the Giants been in second and short? I'd say most of the possessions.
The perfect situation. The pure options that you get in that situation, that's as dramatically opposed to second and 12 or second and 15. Those second and short downs are the easy ones. Ron Earhart is upstairs saying, boy, I love this. I love the options I have as an offensive coordinator.
Second down and 3. Tillman. That time the Cowboys stormed in with Ken Norton. It'll be third and short. And Tillman's gained 49 yards so far, but a good play by Ken Norton.
Kenny Norton has had a couple of big plays today. The fastest of these linebackers, very quick inside. Howard also there, as they were able to get to the ball carrier before he could really get started. And Tillman has shown us great acceleration today, but one way to stop the back is to get to him before he can get moving.
Both teams have been substituting freely, and for Dallas, a team that doesn't have that much depth, their reserve line, inexperience, has been affected. They've committed some penalties here. Play action on third and 3. Sims sees the receivers covered. Noonan chases him, and he's knocked out of bounds, very close to the sticks.
He is almost up to a first down, but I don't know if he picked it up.
And Sims and Noonan exchanged some unpleasantries over at the far sideline.
Watch Sims, the long arm fake here, thought better of throwing this football, and this is something he does so well. He would rather eat the football, make the most of it, than take the chance on the interception. Now let's watch him after the play. He gets up, hey, come on, Danny, you can't take me out of bounds like that. He thought he'd been hit out of bounds. Noonan just doing his job, and it is painful to make that sprint to the sideline.
Measurement coming up. 8:39 remaining in the third quarter. Still 14-7. It is a Giant first down. Giants started on their 23-yard line after Dallas could not move deep in their own end in the first possession of the second half, and the Giants once again chewing up the time of possession in this game.
once again, you look to the scoreboard and you say, can this game be a 14-7 game? The Giants continue another long drive, another dominating drive by the Giant offense. But those drives and that domination has not put a lot of points on the board.
Tillman slipped by the first tackler, but no gain as Ken Norton has been able to penetrate the Giants' offensive line effectively.
Norton doing a good job accelerating in there. And there's Kenny Norton Sr., someone who is obviously more than interested in the play of a son. Looks pretty good. You might be able to put a uniform on him.
He may be in better shape than Nate Newton.
Dallas absorbing this. And what was that, the rope-a-dope that they used on the same kind of situation here, isn't it? Punching them out.
Sims throws it out of bounds. Baker, the intended receiver, and Robert Williams covering on the play. It'll be 3rd down and 10. Sims has been throwing for a very good percentage today. He's had a fine afternoon. The Giants have turned it over twice, both on fumbles. Everson Walls intercepted a pass for the only turnover by Dallas just before the end of the half.
We've not seen much 3rd and long today. Giants back to the familiar shotgun.
Sims up the middle, completes it to Hampton. And Hampton breaks a couple of tackles inside the 15. And finally carried out of bounds at the 5. Let's see where he stepped at. It'll be marked at the 6. And Ron Francis made the play. And the Cowboys, poor tackling, had Rodney Hampton short of the first down yardage. It was Bates who missed.
A very dependable Billy Bates in on this long yardage situation. Finds his man. He's right on top of him. But Hampton with good arm strength, and then watch him just pull out of that tackle right there. That's sheer power. And Bates, the man who could not hang on, as Hampton ends up on the 5.
26-yard gain. Bates is upset with himself. It's 1st and goal at the 6 for the Giants. Here's Tillman. And Tillman gets to the 4-yard line. Bates makes the tackle. The Giants have converted 9 of 10 third down situations. Most of them have been on short yardage. That was one that was not. Horton made the stop and not Bates, who we saw on the sideline. Second and goal now at the 4-yard line. Giants come in with the 3 tight end package now with Bavaro, Howard Cross, and Bob Morosco.
Giants have hit outside on the short yardage package throughout the day. Let's see what they do here.
Play fake, Sims all alone. Bavaro, touchdown Giants.
Like stealing cookies on that one. Bavaro all alone out there. The outside, right-hand side, nobody home. Finally, a totally exhausted Eugene Lockhart heads to the outside, but Sims says, finally, we get some more points on the board.
And Mark Bavaro has caught 5 passes today, including his first touchdown of the year. Giants in front 20-7. Allegre with a conversion, and with 5:51 remaining in the 3rd quarter, Giants totally dominating the game on the field, leading now by a score of 21-7. James Dixon. Done by Tillman, but Greg Jackson rides him out of bounds just shy of the 20-yard line. An 18-yard return. Here's Phil Sims, who connected with Bavaro. Sims has thrown a touchdown pass and has scored one himself today.
Sims has been on the field for 54 offensive plays. The Dallas Cowboys have run 17 plays so far in this game. Amazing.
And that's keeping the defense on the field
much too much. He's not sweating yet. He's not sweating yet.
Well, he's the only one in the plate.
He may be the only one not sweating.
On the draw play, Tommy Agee. The Plan B pickup who played so well against the Chargers, stopped by Gary Reasons, who's gone in for Steve DiAsi, but not before he gets to the 23. Talking with Bill Belichick yesterday, Reasons, of course, has not started this season. He has played a lot. Steve DiAsi has, and he says they're basically both even, and we can use them anytime. So it's a half-and-half situation.
He's delighted to be here. He said, hey, this doesn't bother me. I grew up down here. Fort Worth, his mom and dad are here for the game, his sister and his sister's husband. He's enjoying the day.
2nd and 7. Here's Agee. Lawrence Taylor over there to make the play, and help from Everson Walls as well. Gets to the 27-yard line, so it'll be 3rd and short for the Cowboys.
There was a time in the NFL when you played yourself into shape. That's what Lawrence Taylor is doing right now.
But there aren't many players who could come in as Lawrence Taylor did last week and have 3 sacks the way he did. He's an unusual specimen. I mean, look at Leonard Marshall. He was a holdout, and it's taken him a little bit longer.
There's only one LT. Around the league, personnel people are saying, the coaches go to them, give me an LT, bring me an LT. A BLT maybe, an LT. No way.
3rd down and 2. Darryl Johnston has come in and a penalty marker down. They still had time on the clock.
Both start prior to the snap. Number 68 offense, still 3rd down.
There's the concentration factor.
Crawford Kerr, the left guard. And he's been around. Mark Tuine is the most experienced. There he is, number 71 of the front line. He's been around 8 years, and Kerr has been 6. And the others are really playing new positions or playing only their 1st or 2nd year.
Stepnoski, the center, came in as a rookie last year and just really was embarrassed early in the year. In fact, the Giants do not have high regard for him even now. But he is learning. You got to learn in a hurry in this business.
3rd down and 7. Aikman's pass caught. Darryl Johnston out of the backfield. He's got a 1st down at the 41. Dave Duerson, nickel back, making the tackle, good for 19 yards.
Mark Tuine, right side of your screen, number 71. You'll see Lawrence Taylor trying to get in there. Tuine doing a great job. He's matched up man-to-man, pushing LT deep to the outside, giving his quarterback time to throw the football.
Tuine played well against Taylor the last time these two met. And a false start.
Well, we pat him on the back, and what does he do?
He comes back and pays us for it.
Well, short trigger. When your responsibility is LT, you better be off and flying on that ball.
Both start prior to the snap. Number 71 offense, still 1st down.
There is some relief on the field now. The sun is completely gone, dropped down. The advantage of starting at 3 o'clock. Otherwise, we would still, if this was an early game, we would still be in extreme heat. But the sun now down to where we're getting a little cooler.
Alexander Wright has come in the game, the rookie wide receiver. He accounted for the only Dallas score today with the kickoff return. 1st down and 15. Pressure on Aikman, gets it off to Emmitt Smith. And Smith makes the catch and is hit by 3 Giants at the 40. Lawrence Taylor was the main man in there, and good pressure, though. Leonard Marshall really put some heat on Aikman.
I said earlier that Aikman will watch on every play where Mr. Taylor lines up. And definitely he is going to be a factor, even though he has not had the kind of day he had last week in that cool evening. In fact, last week, watching the replay of that game, they were wearing long sleeve shirts.
Giants have only 1 sack today, that by Carl Banks. 2nd down and 11. Aikman has to get rid of it in a hurry. Melvin Martin has it. 1st down into Giant territory at the 46. Renee Thompson defending. That's a 13-yard pickup for Dallas.
They call him Kmart. And they love to go to him. He's become the go-to receiver here in Dallas. You see why, as he does a good job of breaking up on Renee Thompson. Renee in there because of the injury earlier in the ball game to Mark Collins, who had to leave. Thompson, another one of those people with roots here in Dallas. In fact, he's got a brother, Joseph, who's a blue chip high school player here at Richardson High School.
He's been a great special teams performer. Here's Smith. Bounces off one man and picks up a couple. Minute and a half remaining in the third quarter. Taylor was in on the stop there. Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas. Second week of the NFL season. Two teams who won their opener. And the Giants, who have on the field had every statistical edge right now except for turnovers, lead 21-7. Dick Stockton and Merlin Olsen here. And the Cowboys have a 2nd down and 7 on the Giant 43. Pass is caught by Awald. See if he made the catch and fumble it out of bounds. He did. Got a few extra yards to boot. And that may be close to a 1st down, and they may have to bring it back because you can't fumble it forward. And the official has it marked back on the 38-yard line on the 41. Banks made the hit.
Awald in the game because of an injury to Novacek earlier on the day. You see Banks just blast that ball out with a sharp punch of the hand. We've seen several balls batted away today. Back to the spot of the fumble. 3rd and 5.5 yards to go. Jimmy Johnson feeling a little better about things. At least his offense is finally getting a chance to move the ball.
Dennis McKinnon has come in as his extra receiver. Going deep for Alexander Wright. Covering was Perry Williams on the play. And a good coverage that time by Williams, who had been a starter for the Giants for 6 years.
Williams looked like he got lost momentarily on that, but he stayed stride for stride with Wright down that sideline. Wright showing some maturity. Didn't panic, just waited, and at the last minute the hands went up. The ball was not able to be caught, but good play. Saxon, however, into the ball game to kick it away.
Meggett standing on the 10. And there's a fake. And Bill Bates dives forward, and I believe he's short of it.
Irony that Bates would be the man carrying that ball. Last week, he was the man tackling the man carrying the ball. Gary Plummer tried an ill-fated fake punt last week that ended up being the difference in the game. The snap to Bates very quickly. He gets up inside. It's Abrams, number 51, who makes the first pop.
And David Whitmore, another rookie, also in on the play. And the Giants take over on downs.
Ronnie Barnes, head trainer for the New York Giants. Parcells will talk to him constantly. He wants to know, can they go? Who's hurt? Who's dehydrated? Who can play? Who can't play?
One of those scenes that occur away from the 100 yards out on the field. Rodney Hampton on 1st down, brought down by Norton after a couple. That may be the last play of the third quarter. Wasn't a bad idea to fake on that situation because the Giants don't have good field position as they started that drive, and if they made the 1st down behind by 2 touchdowns, it would have been a boost to them.
You don't want to kick it to Meggett. We know that.
And that's the end of the third quarter. You're right with the score. Giants 21, Cowboys 7. And our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. The stadium as we start the fourth quarter. Dick Stockton and Merlin Olsen. It's been hot all day, but it's under 100 at least down here. Close to 90, and the Giants leading 21-7.
That's good news. We started well over 100 degrees today.
Time of possession, huge advantage to the Giants. 2nd down and 9 for Phil Simms. He's had a run a couple of times, and smartly goes down with it at the 42.
You saw that little smile at the end? Sims knows that he probably should have gotten at least a step or two further. My gosh, maybe he was tired. Maybe he went down.
Third down.
Bill Parcells, of course, wants his offense to be mistake-free if they can. And Sims, as I mentioned, makes good decisions. And when he does pull that ball down, he's not afraid to take it upfield as he did on that play. Instead of the sack, instead of the potential interception, got a 5-yard gain.
Ingram, Hampton, and Meggett have come in. Hampton goes in motion on 3rd down and 5. Sims got some good pressure there, intended for Meggett. Manny Hendricks defending. Tony Tolbert put some good pressure in on Phil Sims, and Sean Landeta will be coming in to punt for the first time today.
Tolbert with those long arms, a little bit reminiscent of Ed Too Tall Jones. Such a thorn in the side of the Giants and so many other teams. But Tolbert with that great reach, sometimes able to make those same kinds of plays.
Well, here's a fresh player, Sean Landeta. Going back deep for the Cowboys is Dennis McKinnon.
The only guy in the field had to warm up.
Good high spiral, and McKinnon will let it bounce into the end zone for a touchback. So with 13:59 and a penalty marker is down, you couldn't get a better look than that at it. We'll wait and see. 57-yard kick by Landeta, and the penalty will be against the Giants.
Question as to whether you want to take it on a day like today. Run that Giant punt coverage team down the field again. Run your own punt return team down the field. You might see them refuse this penalty.
And then again,
you might see them make a kick it again. Jimmy's got to make that choice. You can make a case either way. I can tell you.
Holding, number 47 offense, still 4th down.
Greg Jackson, of course, and you'll say Jimmy doesn't have to go back and recover the punt.
That's right. I can tell you one thing. Jackson will hear about that from the other 10 guys on that punt coverage team. In fact, he might even get some complaints from Dallas's punt return team. Come on, we don't need to do this again.
So Landeta will kick once more, and McKinnon will have better room now. He'll be standing at his 20.
The ball sails better on a hot day like today. Ooh.
Not as good a kick as the first time, and McKinnon has it bounce off of him. Loose ball. We'll wait for the official signal, and the Giants have recovered the muff punt by McKinnon. Gary Reasons has it. Well, that turned out to be a big break for the Giants.
It looked for a second like Johnson had made the right choice. A low line drive kick. You catch that ball, you got room for a big return. But you don't catch it, and that's what happens. The Giants with incredible field position, the best they've had all day. And there's the best special teams player in the NFL, Renee Thompson. Well, that's what you get. You got players like that, you're right in the action.
Bill Parcells says the best I've ever seen in special teams. And that's a mouthful.
Let's watch Renee Thompson on that last play. Trying to hold him up one-on-one. Oh, he's got a second man downfield, so they did double him. That's Williams, Robert Williams. He didn't even care about Williams. And it's Thompson who is there to pop that ball up. So he's paying big dividends again here today.
Giants first down on the Cowboy 28. Tillman wrestled down. Isaac Holt was the first to reach him. And a loss perhaps of a couple on the play. Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys, came into our booth before the game and was hopeful, of course, as a Dallas fan would be. He says, you know, if the ball can just bounce our way, we may have a shot today. Well, there was a chance for the Cowboys to make things happen on that second kick, and the ball bounced not his way.
The other way. Again, I think that's the kind of play that happens on a day like today very often because you're so fatigued that you're not thinking well. You're not keeping a concentration on that ball. You want to look away before you tuck that ball away securely.
Tillman on 2nd and 12, nowhere to go. And another loss, 2 yards on the play. And right now, for an NFL report, let's check in with Greg Gumbel in New York. Greg?
All right, Dick, in Minnesota, Watch Wade Wilson step back from 5 yards out, finds Herschel Walker in the end zone. John Forquet, with a concussion in the first half, is back in the lineup for the Saints, who trail Minnesota 25-3 in the third. Back to Dick and Merlin.
All right, Greg, thank you very much. And so the Minnesota Vikings, after losing to Kansas City, and now the Saints, after a tough loss to the 49ers, could be looking at 0-2. Third down and 14. Out of the shotgun is Sims. Hand off to Hampton.
Oh, great turn by Hampton. Great change
Fumble on the play, and the Cowboys have recovered. Parcells is really upset because he saw a chance for the Giants to put this game away, and now they keep the Cowboys alive.
A Cowboy defense that is on the ropes. They've been on the field all day. Great change of direction. Hampton gets extra yardage. Watch it right here. Bang, the head right on the ball, broke it loose.
And I think it was Tolbert who picked it up. Look at the numbers. You think it's 56-0. 20 yards for Dallas. Time of possession, 20 fewer minutes. Sims is having a terrific day, over 200 yards. And the score, though, right now, 21-7. The Giants lead in the fourth quarter, and we still have enough time. What does Dallas need to do to get some kind of offense going?
Well, they've just done the first thing they had to do was get their hands back on the football. And now they've got to do something with that football. They have yet to use it to get any points with their offense on the day to mount that sustained drive that they need. This is the part of the game that they said their conditioning was going to pay off in. Let's see if it does.
First down, Troy Aikman, the quarterback, on the 23. Fumble.
You bet.
Cowboys may have recovered. Lawrence Taylor finally got to Troy Aikman, and Kevin Gogan made the recovery. That might have been a big game breaker for the Giants. It'll count it, though, as a sack, the second of the game for the Giants.
We mentioned that Aikman had to look for LT. Great spin off Tuine right there, and he's able to burst inside. And they're trying to throw off that short drop, that 5-step drop, instead of going deep. Aikman had no one to go to, held the ball too long, and LT got his first sack of the day. 3 tackles, 1 sack. Not the numbers he had last week. 3 sacks, 10 tackles last week against the Eagles.
Second down and 20. Loss of 10 that time. Aikman under pressure. Incomplete to Johnston. Greg Jackson, the strong safety, was shadowing him all the way, and that'll bring up third and long.
And he had Pepper Johnson's helmet right in his chest. Hurried the throw. Simply couldn't get it out of there in time. As Johnson, who was stunning to the outside, and that's something that Bill Belichick told us he was going to do, is stunt Pepper from the inside, able to get in there and slam Aikman to the ground.
Out of the shotgun on third and 20. Low snap. Tipped. Intercepted. Taylor will score. Touchdown. He tipped it up and caught the tip and ran in for the touchdown. And now Lawrence Taylor, he seems to be the strongest of anyone here in the fourth quarter, and the Giants get a score again.
You talk about players having a great motor. This guy's got a jet engine. Slaps the ball in the air, watches it go up, puts it into his chest, carries it into the end zone. Maybe ought to kick the extra point. Then he'd have all 7 of these points.
An 11-yard return for a touchdown on an interception by Taylor, and the Giants lead at 27-7. He deserves that cold sponge now.
You bet he does.
That's the second time in his career that Lawrence Taylor has returned an interception for a touchdown in the regular season.
Cross slow getting on to his end position.
A leg raise. Kick is good. And that'll take a lot of the air out of whatever air is left in the Dallas balloon, with plenty of time remaining here at Texas Stadium.
Going 55, if you look at the speedometer for 1 second, you travel 80 feet. At Oldsmobile, our head-up display lets you keep your eyes on the road. It's a feature to look forward to.
This is the new generation of Olds.
Did you ever think you'd see the day when a car could actually call you if it's being stolen? With Toronto's Visual Information Center and mobile phone, next time it's 11 o'clock, you'll know where your car is.
This is the new generation of Olds.
Did you know only 1-800-SERVICE can drive business further? 1-800-SERVICE connects calls 25% faster and has the fewest blocked calls. AT&T 800-SERVICE. Our superior...
Hi, Mom. He can say hello to anyone he wants. Lawrence Taylor with interception, return for a touchdown. He tipped it to himself. 28-7, New York. Allegre kicking off. James Dixon on the return. And Dixon is tackled at the 23-yard line by Steve Diassi. 20-yard return by Dixon. Cowboys have mustered very little offense this afternoon. And that'll be all for Troy Aikman. Steve Walsh has come in to replace Aikman here. Walsh, by the way, relieved Aikman when he went out with a broken finger when these teams played last October and threw a touchdown pass against the Giants.
Had 5 starts last year. Said, hey, I can sit and wait for one more year, but I want to play. I want to play football. Here he is.
Walsh on first down out to Tommy Agee, the fullback. Agee is stopped at the 28-yard line. Renee Thompson and Pepper Johnson. Nothing wrong with Troy Aikman. Jimmy Johnson has just decided to give Walsh an opportunity here.
Walsh quickly to the no-huddle offense.
Short drop. And the pass is caught. Good enough for the first down.
Oh, now you want to talk about something you dread on defense? A day like today, no huddle offense, one play right after another, no time to rest. This is unfair. This is unfair.
Walsh finds McKinnon. And McKinnon picks up nearly 8 yards. Dave Duerson on the stop. Walsh was a guy who a lot of people thought would be traded, particularly to the Minnesota Vikings. He's from St. Paul, but they couldn't come together. The Cowboys and Vikings couldn't make the deal. And Walsh may have to wait till next year to get to a new club.
Right now, he's in the driver's seat.
Short of a first down, it'll still be third down and 3 for Dallas. Agee on the carry, Banks on the tackle.
Needs to pick this up or he won't be in the seat long. Somebody else is going to have the car.
Well, he's going to play quarterback somewhere. Out of the University of Miami. Young, a guy with ability. Pass was low to Agee out of the backfield, incomplete, and it'll be fourth down. But the Cowboys down 28-7.
No.
They're going to kick it away.
I had the same thought, but Jimmy Johnson said no. We'll kick it away here. Walsh, who has excellent touch. In fact, you talk to these receivers for the Cowboys, and they'll tell you that Walsh actually has better touch on short passes than Aikman, but he threw that one too hard. There's always the possibility of another fake punt, but I'm not so sure the Cowboys are ready for that.
Meggett goes back for the Giants, and Mike Saxon will kick it away. I think it won't be long before you see Hostetler come in for the Giants to give Sims a much deserved breather. Meggett has to go out of bounds at about the 13-yard line with exactly 9 minutes and remaining, and Hostetler is going to come in right now. So Sims has done his job. The Giants leading 28-7 with that much time remaining in the game. Well, next Saturday at 3 o'clock Eastern, CFA football. Most of you will see San Diego State, the Aztecs, against BYU and Ty Detmer. Some of you will see Alabama try to get back on the winning track against Georgia in a Southeast Conference game. Saturday, 3 o'clock Eastern here on CBS Sports. Phil Sims with an outstanding day. Threw for over 200 yards, threw a touchdown pass, and ran for another. Hostetler, the quarterback. 1st and 10 on the 12-yard line. Lewis Tillman carries it out to the 27. So here's what Sims did today. 16 out of 21. And Hostetler, who led the Giants to 2 victories last year, and Bill Parcells told us yesterday he doesn't want him to slip away. He wants him to stay competitively sharp.
Well, he brings a little different look to that quarterbacking position. Excellent mobility, good speed, big and strong. In fact, they had considered at one time moving him to tight end or to linebacker. He's a tough kid.
Leroy San comes into the game for his first action in the backfield.
Talking about college level. The Giants weren't talking about that. They wanted to play quarterback.
Tillman for a couple. Jim Jeffcoat on the stop. By the way, Jim Jeffcoat's mom is recovering from an ailment in the hospital in New Jersey, and she's watching this game, and she saw her son
with another
big play.
Big play, certainly so.
Didn't help the Cowboys much today. They've been outclassed, but Jeffcoat has been a class act himself.
He's one of those Giants that Parcells said or one of the Cowboys that Parcells said he didn't like, and that was a compliment. He said that guy has been tough on us over the years, and certainly he has. 100% player. That's the kind of people you go looking for in the draft.
3rd down and 5 for the Giants on the 18. Tillman.
Good fake. There's the mobility.
Ooh, and caught in the grasp. They're going to credit Stubbs with the sack, and that'll be the first sack of the game for the Dallas Cowboys.
I thought Stubbs had one earlier. Maybe there was a penalty on the play.
There was, and but
Stubbs has made his presence felt. Looked like Hostetler was getting away on that particular play to the outside, and there is Stubbs showing excellent speed.
Sean Landeta will kick.
I think you got to try and block this.
He's in his end zone, and Dennis McKinnon is standing virtually at midfield.
Return is on.
Great kick by Landeta. That'll send McKinnon well back inside his 35. And a good return by Dennis McKinnon into Giant territory to the 46. Leroy San making the stop. Well, the Cowboys trailing 28-7, a 19-yard return by McKinnon. Well, next week, the NFL Today starts it off at 12:30. The Minnesota Vikings, who won today against the Chicago Bears, both teams victorious. That's the major game early on, and then the Eagles, who lost to Phoenix today. What do you think they're going to be like against the Rams? Some of you will see Atlanta, San Francisco.
I wouldn't want to be around Buddy. That's heck with the way, this week may be the longest week of your life if you're an Eagle.
First down for the Cowboys, best starting position on the 46 of the Giants. Steve Walsh drills it. Kelvin Martin, great catch, and a first down. And a gain of 29 yards. Everson Walls on the stop. Kelvin Martin, coming back from severe knee injury, went out last November, has made a terrific return. Operating out of the shotgun on first down on the New York 26. Walsh has time. His pass is picked off by Myron Guyton. And the Giant free safety still on his feet. Penalty marker is down. Pass intended for Johnston, and Guyton picks it off for his first interception, but we'll wait to see what the flag is all about. It'll be against the Giants. Right now, Jimmy Johnson said, come on, defense, get back off the field.
Interference, number 28 defense, first down.
It was Walls, the former Cowboy. Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas. The Giants trying to make it 2 in a row against 2 divisional opponents, and the Giants lead at 28-7 with 5:43 remaining in the ballgame. Dick Stockton and Merlin Olsen. Giants trying to also extend their winning streak over the Cowboys to 5.
Everson Walls, who had picked off a pass earlier in this game, his second of the year, makes a mistake here to give the Cowboys an opportunity.
First and goal at the 5. And a penalty flag is down, and we'll have a delay of the game call against Dallas.
Walsh showing you right there the kind of problems young quarterbacks encounter. A bad pass saved by the penalty, and now runs out of time.
49ers leading the Redskins 26-13.
You don't want to give up those tough yards down there. You start on the 5, you move back to the 10. That's not 5 yards. That's 5 of the toughest yards on the field.
First and goal. Walsh's pass incomplete. Kelvin Martin, the intended receiver. This is not going to be easy for Dallas, even though they're threatening. Gary Reason's defending.
I can tell you one thing. The Dallas defense and the New York offense glad to see the other part of their team out on the field for a while.
Sure.
This fourth quarter finally giving Dallas's offense and New York's defense a chance to experience the warmth of the day.
So it's second and goal. Walsh's pass, and let's see, might have been a trip. Kelvin Martin says he was interfered with.
He was stepped on. His heels were stepped on. The official on the spot saying it was inadvertent.
Renee Thompson defending on the play, but it was inadvertent, and that'll be third down coming up.
See it here right at the outside. Thompson, who is driving on the football, and that is the key. The new ruling, the new rules that have come down, the new interpretations on interference by the defensive player. If the defensive player is driving on the football, and if he's looking back at the ball, that kind of play will not be called against him.
Time remaining. Third and goal at the 10. Walsh dropped by Wright. Pass was low, but it was dropped, and that'll be fourth down. And you're so right. They had the ball at the 5. First and goal. There was a penalty, and tough yards. I'd say so.
Well, you have an opportunity to run different plays from first and 5. You probably punch the ball in with the running game, or try to. You move out to the 10. Suddenly they opt to pass. Then they're forced to go to the pass once they miss the first throw.
Fourth down, and the Cowboys trailing by 3 touchdowns. We'll send McKinnon and Wright to the top, and Kelvin Martin to the left. Walsh has time, and his pass is dropped by Alexander Wright. And the Cowboys still don't score with their offense today, and the Giants will take over on downs. And the crowd boos as they wanted to see an improvement somewhere today, and they haven't seen it from the offense, that's for sure.
Pass thrown slightly offline by Walsh, but did lead right into the end zone. Out of his hands, and Hostetler now will take over the downs and get his shot.
Well, coming up tonight on CBS, he sold Saddam Hussein a super gun that some people think could fire chemical weapons and someday nuclear warheads. That's why Gerald Bow was taken out by a couple of hitmen. Who sent them? Find out when 60 Minutes premieres tonight for the 23rd time. That's followed by Murder, She Wrote. Tillman carries and brings it out to the 20, and then it's the CBS Sunday movie, Earth Force. And that's all coming up tonight on CBS Premier Sunday. Big night on CBS.
Statistics not as one-sided as they were at the half. Statistics don't mean a heck of a lot on this one. It's that game score that's most important, and the Giants very comfortable at this point. Not comfortable early in the day. They'd have traded all those stats for a field goal early in the day.
Second down and 1 at the 20-yard line with 4:47 remaining. Hostetler, the quarterback. Lewis Tillman, he's got the first down and then some.
Face mask, I think.
Willie Broughton on the stop, and he might have grabbed the mask as well.
Well, the flag thrown from a long ways away, and sometimes officials see that and call it, and it shouldn't be called.
Face mask, number 79 defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Often from a distance, they'll have a hold of the jersey and not the mask. Let's see if we can see it inside. Brought number 79 right in the middle of your picture. That's a good call. He does have the mask. So on that occasion, the official certainly did the right thing.
So the Giants have the ball at the 30-yard line, and you talk about the statistical edge, but the Giants had a chance to score. They fumbled the ball. Ingram caught a pass and fumbled it into the end zone. Then there was another fumble when the Giants were scoring. It could be much worse right now than 28-7. First and 10 on the 30. A lot of work today for Lewis Tillman, who started last week for the Giants. And Tony Tolbert makes the stop, and all the Giants want to do now is use up as much clock as they can.
Well, the one thing you know, when they get ahead in the ball game, they will sit on the ground and grind that clock. They love to do it. One of the things that has to help Jeff Hostetler is that a backup quarterback's life is a tough one. There's not a lot of glory for them, but at least he's got someone understanding at home. His wife is Vicky, the former Vicky Nealon, daughter of West Virginia University coach Don Nealon. She knows a little bit about football. She can give him a shoulder to cry on when he doesn't feel good, and I'm sure she's watching right now and pleased to see her husband in action.
There's Rodney Hampton, who's checked into the game. Tries to get away from Willie Broughton, and he stands Smagala. Comes up to make the stop. That'll bring up third down and about 4 for the Giants. The Giants know that early in the season they're playing a lot of divisional foes, including some of the tough teams they have to play. They've already gotten by Philadelphia. They've got a couple of games with the Washington Redskins coming up before this season is halfway through. We're going to have a measurement now, as the Giants picked up enough yards to make it close and just shy. Next 5 weeks for the Giants includes a bye on October 7th. But they've got the Redskins on the road, but 3 of their next 4 games are at home. And then, of course, they'll play the Redskins again on October the 28th at home. So 4 of their next 5 will be at Giant Stadium.
Dolphins just coming off a big win today against the Buffalo Bills. So a lot of people not expecting that game to go the way it did.
Third down, less than 1 yard.
Many of the fans have already departed Texas Stadium. Only score by the Cowboys today was an electrifying 90-yard kickoff return by Alex Wright. Third and short, Rodney Hampton appears to have the first down. Tillman has been the big producer on the ground for the Giants today. He has gained 71 yards. A complete back, and the Giants, as we've seen, have a lot of variety in their offensive array, more than they've had in recent years.
You sense some pain in that face as you look at Jimmy Johnson. He'd hoped his team was better than they have proven to be today.
First down on the 40 for the Giants. 2:24 remaining. Hampton will lose a yard on the play. Willis Crockett and Daniel Stubbs in on the tackle, and the Cowboys, who moved up in class to play the Giants today, try to get back next week, and they've got a real tough game in Washington.
Well, they said they wanted to stay close through 3 quarters and then punch it in the 4th quarter. Somehow they never got it into that high gear.
2-minute warning with the Giants way ahead of Dallas. They've had this one salted away for a while, leading 28-7. And one thing when they talk about Bill Parcells, Merlin, people always say in his favor is he always knows how to get a team ready, which is why he doesn't get upset too often against the poorer clubs in the league.
He's an eye-to-eye coach. He really communicates well with his players. He tells them what he wants, and he said on the way down here, there are two things that are extremely important this week. We have to win the games we are expected to win. They did that last year. It was one of the major reasons that they were able to have such a successful season. And the other thing he wants to do is to do a better job on the road. They were 7-1 at home last year, did not do as well on the road. This is a road win against the divisional opponent in a game they are expected to win. They've got 3 good checks in the column already. Yes, yes, yes. And Parcells, for that reason, I'm sure, is pleased. That man, we're thinking the same thing at the same time. That man is not pleased.
How can you tell? 3rd down and 6. Here's Lee Roussan. And he gets close to midfield and close to first down.
I was thinking as I watched Jimmy Johnson early in the game, just before the game, he and Parcells were out there talking to each other, and we had asked him yesterday in our conversation, going through that horrible year last year, did other coaches talk to you? Did they commiserate? And he said one of the guys that talked to me was Bill Parcells, and he told me about his rookie year when he had to go through all of the pain. He won 3 games, Parcells did, as opposed to 1, but it was a painful year back in 1983. They'd led the league in turnovers with 58. They had 25 guys on IR at one time or another during that season, and he shared that kind of thought with Jimmy Johnson and said there were times when I thought I just might want to quit. Well, Johnson, I'm sure, took a little hard in that because he's turning over faces as Parcells did in his second year. Parcells had 23 new faces in his second year in '84, took his team to the playoffs. Johnson with 19 new faces here this year, and he's going to be putting people in the lineup that haven't had a chance to play. It's going to be difficult in the early part of the season.
Greg Gumbel and Terry Bradshaw will have scores and highlights on the NFL Today postgame show coming up next. It'll be 4th down, and the Giants, after the measurement, are short, and Sean Landeta will come in and kick. And Dennis McKinnon goes back for the Cowboys. There have been some griping in the Dallas camp about how tough training camp was, and even the way the practices are during the regular season. But Jimmy Johnson's convinced it'll pay off.
He's made a decision. He said, we're going to do it my way. He says, if I'm going to get fired, and that'd be kind of hard. He's got, what, a 10-year contract. He said, if I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail because I did it wrong, not because somebody else told me you're supposed to do it this way.
Delay of the game penalty, 5 yards, will be marked off with 33 seconds to go. Of course, as long as you have a Jerry Jones, one of your best buddies, as owner, he has more than a 10-year contract. He has a contract as long as Jones owns the team.
Well, they also have a contract with the people of Dallas to put a winning football team on the field, and I think they both feel that responsibility. There's the block.
Cowboys
didn't get it.
Trying to get a piece of it. The ball goes out of bounds. 27 seconds remaining in the game, and they had to separate Daniel Stubbs momentarily from David Whitmore. A couple were jawing at each other at midfield.
Too tired to fight. I can't imagine a fight.
Last thing you'd expect on
no, you don't want to. You don't want to do that. It takes too much energy. Just as a final add to Jimmy Johnson and to the problems you talked about, some of the griping that's going on. That's natural for players, especially when you're working them hard. And he did. He ran the toughest camp in the NFL this year. But the winning this last week kind of quieted that down. Unfortunately, some of it will return this week. With a relatively inept offensive performance, a lot of the gripers will be back.
Fumble. And the Giants recover as they miss the snap. Walsh and his center. And the Giants take over with 23
sloppy,
seconds.
Folks. It's getting sloppy out there right now. And this is the kind of thing you worry about happening. Fatigue taking over. The end of the game, it's counting down, but you got to finish. You got to show some pride out there. Parcells has the headset off, passing out congratulations.
There's a guy who has really been charged up since the season started, Pepper Johnson.
he thought he was going to get caught on the field as the 12th man. Jumps off to the side.
Banks recovered that fumble, so each team committed 3 turnovers this afternoon. The Giants shut out the Dallas offense, and final seconds. Last meeting last year, the Giants won 15-0, so it's been 8 quarters that the Cowboys offense have been shut out by the New York Giants. Final score, the Giants beat the Cowboys 28-7, 5 straight wins for the Giants. And Jimmy Johnson's Cowboys go to 1-1. The Giants are 2-0 in the NFC East. So Parcells gets his road victory. And the only problem for the Giants is the condition of Mark Collins, who suffered a sprained ankle. And the 2 of them walk off the field, Jimmy Johnson and Bill Parcells. And Greg Gumbel will be up with all the scores and the recap to bring you up to date on the second weekend of the season. Big day for Phil Simms.
He might have a word of advice for the young rookie Walsh.
He ought to give a word of advice to Aikman, too. Both of them are in the same boat.
Very definitely. Very definitely. I tell you, players who have lost games, who have been through losing seasons, know the pain of doing so. Trust me, there's a lot of camaraderie on this field. Bill Bates sharing a few thoughts with Simms. Landetta there to talk as well.
Well, the Giants dominated the time of possession, and that was the one thing that the Cowboys didn't want to see happen. And Giants were very smooth with their offense today, and their defense didn't allow a score. Walls comes back home a victor. So from Erlen Olsen, this is Dick Stockton saying so long. The NFL Today post-game show will follow after these messages.